You're like, everything is recording fine. Let's go ahead and get the podcast started. And the first word out of your mouth when we record is
maybe the technology's looking out for you. Every time I'm saying something fucking stupid, the technology is like, we're gonna cut out.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am still Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddie Webben, who may or may not be able to be understood by her comrades.
Hey, we heard it.
Yay.
Cool.
You were not a robot today.
Good.
But today we'll be playing the last bit of Chapter 3 and the first bit of Chapter 4. Not a very big playthrough, but it's a lot of plot, so it'll probably give us more room to talk about the, nothing that happens when we go collect the disc 4 MacGuffins.
And by playing, you mean watching.
Yeah, we watched a lot this week.
Yeah.
But, we'll be stopping before we enter Magic City Iglis. But before we get to all of that, how was everybody's week?
It was okay. Ken and I had some free Alamo tickets because
Nice.
I'd gotten one. I had some contest that I had won. Well, it was a raffle that I had won to see a free live Whose Line Is It Anyway a year or so ago. It was super cool, but when I got to the theater where it was being held with my partner, nobody was there to give us our tickets. And we asked about it at the ticket booth, and they didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. And so I emailed the place, and I mean the theater accommodated us. They saw the email that I got, and they were super nice about it, and they took care of us. But I emailed the people back and was like, hey, I had no idea where to find this person, and I don't even know if they were there in the first place. This is what happened. This is what I went through. And they were like, oh, we're so sorry. Let me send you an Alamo Drafthouse gift card to make up for that issue that you had. So that was pretty cool. And then I got one as a reward from work. Well, sort of a reward from work, because I got to take a day off back in December, like I had said in a previous episode, and we did some bar trivia, and my team won.
Nice.
So we got free Alamo Drafthouse tickets from that.
Nice.
So I had 2 free tickets, and Ken and I went and saw Into the Spider-Verse, and it was super good. It's super good. If you haven't seen it, you absolutely should.
Yeah, I had a list of 4 movies I really wanted to see that were all out at the same time, and Spider-Verse was actually at the top of my list, but it was every time I wanted to go watch a movie, the way that the timing worked out, there wasn't a good showtime for that movie, so it's the only one I haven't seen, and it's it looks so amazing.
It's so good. It 100% deserved its Golden Globe for Best Picture, and I hope that continues going forward, with the other award seasons and stuff, because it deserves all of the praise that it gets.
Yeah.
My favorite review of it was on Fat Man on Batman. Mark Bernardin, who is a black man, he goes, first off, this is the weirdest problem to have, because I never thought there would be a year where I would have to choose between 2 black-led superhero movies, and I also never thought that my favorite for the year wouldn't be Black Panther. And I was like, that's pretty great when the most important black cinema in the last 10 years or whatever is outshined by the Spider-Man.
Holy shit, dude.
So
Hold on. Why would you have to pick between that and Black Panther? Didn't Black Panther come out 10 fucking years ago?
It sure feels like it.
God, boy, what a movie that was. I don't know. I was gonna say something stupid. Right. Just in random movie news, y'all, a John Wick 3 trailer is gonna drop tomorrow.
Nice.
I'm so excited. I was rereading some reviews of John Wick 1 and 2, and the review of John Wick 2 on RogerEbert.com is cinema was created so that Keanu Reeves could wear a suit. And I'm like, that is a very, very true statement.
That's so great.
Wow. I've never seen a John Wick movie, so
I haven't seen any of them of either. But do you know if the TV show for whatever network was going to run the John Wick TV show? Do you know if that ever took off?
Oh, who fucking knows? I think they're still making it. It was some weird spin-off, but it sounded good though.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about John Wick. It's like, what if a Rouge film had way more world building than necessary?
Yeah.
But it's like good.
Yeah, it's like the show was like not about John Wick. It was about like this hotel he stops in for like a minute or two in like one of the movies, where it's just like such good world building. They're like, we could make a show out of that, so they did.
Yeah, basically, it's like Hotel for Dogs, but it's Hotel for Assassins.
But
yes, those are very similar concepts.
Well, in John Wick, he has a dog. John Wick, Hotel for Assassins,
that's all I
and the dogs
know.
that die and make them go on revenge sprees.
Yeah, that's all I knew about John Wick, was that it had something to do with the dog dying and getting revenge for it.
Yep.
Yeah. My week was spent working on this new project thing that I'm not ready to talk about with anybody except for the people that I'm directly talking to right now. But there are people listening all over the world that I'm not ready to share it with. But it's been
literally all
been
over
pretty
the
cool.
world. It's so crazy. Like we have fans who live in Japan and fans who live in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Those are the two
Eli,
corners of the world.
Don't you mean fan who lives in Japan and fan who lives in Wisconsin?
We have.
I thought two people were in Japan.
Yeah, Griffin and Chasen in the Discord both are from Japan. And there may be other people that just aren't in the Discord, so you should just hop in the Discord and say hi, even if all you do is say hi, just so I can know about how many people are listening. But yeah, so I'm really excited about all of that. It's super cool, and I hope I get to share it with you guys pretty soon. Depends on how much I get off my ass, and because the research for it is really fun, but then the like doing it is just like, well, I could just research some more. So I've just like only been researching.
Ain't that always how it is?
Yeah. So hopefully I'll get it out soon, and you guys will hear about it, and it'll be really cool. But yeah, I think we touched on everybody. Did you say your week, Maddie?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay.
I don't know. It's been busy and difficult, but not in a way that's interesting. It's just life is hard, and then you die. You know how it is.
Yeah.
I'm actually not. I'm doing fine emotionally. I'm upbeat. I'm having a good time. I like my life, but like it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of the weeks that just like disappeared. Like into, you know how like when you're driving, sometimes you'll like get in the car and you're like, all right, let me just put on my favorite song, and oh shit, I'm already at work. Like, what the hell just happened?
Yep.
This week did that, but like with my whole life. So like I went into my therapist yesterday. She's like, what happened this week? I'm like, I honestly couldn't tell you.
Zero and no fucking clue. Yeah. Okay, I did have one very important thing. I actually a few. I think I mentioned I told you all this last week. It came out to my boss, which was nice. And my boss put me in contact with another trans girl at work who we work in the same office. I just never, ever see her, I guess because our schedules are backwards. I saw her a few days ago, and I was like, this is the first time I've seen your face in like 2 months, which is bizarre because, again, we work in the same building. Relatively around the same. It's not like you have a night shift. We don't have a night shift. But anyway, she texted me, and she was like, oh, I'm having like a little support. I have like a little support group for me and a few other trans folks from this company. We meet on Saturdays. I didn't go to the first one, but I'm going to go to the second one. And then she's like, also, I have some dresses for you. And I'm like, everyone's being so nice. You don't need to stop. It's freaking me out. I'm going to cry.
Right?
Aww, that's
being
awesome.
so sweet to me all the time. But no, the more important thing in my life is that I finally got my room in some kind of livable state, which is a very big deal because I've been wanting a work desk. And I now have a work desk, which means I can now start work and do video game development, which is what I've been wanting to do get back on for ages, but like I literally was not physically able to do it. But now I can, and I'm really, really excited to join Sam in our joint project and also work on like 2 other things because I like to have lots of irons in the fire.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's a tangled web of irons and mixed metaphors.
Here's the Homestuck reference for the week.
Yep, check.
Well, the first one that's on the recording.
Yeah.
Literally, the first thing you said to me this morning was a Homestuck reference.
It was. But yeah, let's discover this plot, and we can stop and embellish, because this is literally like the scroll bar on the notes is like a third of the page instead of like a fifth of the page. Like it's a real short, easy week, but we get to talk about some real cool shit here at the end of disc 3.
Yeah, so, it was a lot.
Yeah, so where last we stopped was, I think we stopped talking when Lloyd said let's go to Velweb, and not when we actually do go to Velweb.
Lloyd is like, let's go, and we're still like in a fucking dungeon at the time, and you have to backtrack and save because you're worried you're gonna fuck something up and die.
Yeah. Okay. So Lloyd gives us all of the stuff, and we now are super powerful, and we could just go and rule the world ourselves, but alas, we're heroes, so we don't do that. So we take all of the stupid stuff and head over to
the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah, we have the Chaos Emeralds, and we head back through the glacier to go to Velweb, and the first thing that happens is not in these notes. Let me go to last week's notes. It was something that I did not copy and paste from the correct, and then we go to
the optional shit.
No, I copied from the second. From there, we go to Velweb, and not we stop in the cave.
Hey,
which is
Sam,
a big
I just realized why we totally forgot what happened for an entire week, because GDQ was happening for an entire week.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
what
why.
happened.
Yeah. I was very focused on GDQ.
There was some good shit. There was some real good shit. While you're copy pasting, quick shout out. Proto Magical Girl, wonderful streamer and speedrunner, has a podcast actually, and
nice.
It's really good. So go look up. I don't remember the name of it right now. Yeah, I do. It's Setting the Record Queer. They interview queer people about shit that they're into.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've only listened to the first episode where their guests are themselves talking about speedrunning.
Nice.
But on other episodes, they interview other people about various hobbies and interests that they have. It's real good. But even if it wasn't good, frankly, even if it was like average, I'd be like, yeah, go listen to it, because Proto Magical Girl is really awesome. And
she's great.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Recopied and repasted the correct notes from last week.
Good.
All right. So on our way to
computer.
On our way to Velweb, we take refuge from a blizzard, and Lloyd decides to tell us Diaz's whole plan for some reason, because he doesn't have good infosec. So far in this game, the only people with good infosec is the little kid that's running the underground resistance in Kazas. He's the only person that wanted to make sure that we were who we said we were before he helped us.
Yep.
But Diaz says that the world is decaying and devolving because the last fruit has not been born, and so the world is incomplete, so it needs to do its whole shebang. And he says that the Moonchild is the 108th species, which is supposed to be the proper rulers of everything because it's better than everything, so it will bring about a utopia, but the black monster, persnickety thing, kills the Moonchild each time, and it wants to keep us from being into the utopia. And he says, but if the Moonchild stays alive, one can use all of the moon objects to awaken the 108th species and bring about the utopia. And Rose, just casually, this is the last time that she hints to what's coming. She says that's not true and doesn't really say what's up, and no one really questions her what's up. And Eli's just like, Rose is so smart. She knows everything. I trust her 100%. I have no idea what's coming next.
Yeah, I'm not really that good at reading into things, admittedly.
I just realized it's kind of funny. The plot here is actually very similar to my video game, where it's like, where it's like, hey, we have all this fighting and strife, and we can't get our shit together. What if instead of like learning to set aside our differences like mature fucking adults, we like just had some other species come and rule the world and force us all to stop fighting and being stupid. But I like that. It's a nice plot. It's very wistful, but also it's like, I don't believe that humans can get their shit together. So what if someone else just made us be cool?
It's also the plot of The Watchmen.
Oh yeah, I guess it is.
But so Dart is then just like why does he need Shauna then? It's not as if we know that the black monster was trying to kill her.
Why does? Oh wait.
Yeah.
Oh, you totally spoiled it. Lol.
Yeah, you just spoiled it. You said not Diaz.
God damn it.
Try again.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to actually try and not spoil it for the podcast people and actually give it another shot.
Here's what you do. Put little bleep. Just put bleeps.
Yeah.
Just put bleeps when you say it.
That'd be good. Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. So Dart is like, well, why does Diaz need Shauna? As if we didn't go to a whole ghost boat and learn that she was Princess Luvia, and then learn last week that Princess Luvia was the Moonchild, and like all of those sorts of things.
Or for me, learn and then forget.
Yeah. And so at this point, Maddie is just like Dart, is like, yeah, so why do they need Shauna?
I don't get it.
And Lloyd, of course, won't answer. So here is where you get to do the optional dungeon, Fort McGrad, if you're ready for it. Eli accidentally walked in and was not ready for it.
I was annihilated.
Yeah, it's a really hard one. It's technically doable now. I did not even try to do it now because I know that all you get is Dart's ultimate weapon that hurts 10% HP every turn, which doesn't feel worth it to me. It sounds like Maddie did go and do it, though, because she was like, oh, just use this one and put on this thing, and then you just kick ass. And I'm like, oh, I guess you went and killed the power armor. I should probably do that.
That Polter Helm did an attack that did like 2,000 damage to everyone. So
first try, I got
didn't work
absolutely wrecked. Second try, I didn't find it too bad. I will say it took me at least 3 tries. Maybe just 3 though. This problem is it has 2 spells that are stupendously nasty, but it's pretty inconsistent how often it uses them. Mm-hmm. My first try, it led with it. I didn't even get a turn in.
Oh.
Great.
Second time through, I got some turns in. I used... Hey, quick question. I should have figured this out earlier, but Albert's stupid protect spell, does that have protect against
Rose
magic
Storm.
or just
it has all damage for...
Yeah.
That's right. See, I never actually knew that because I always just use it to be safe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go ahead and fucking use it. So anyway, since I was able to... I totally, like, Final Fantasy style, Final Fantasy 7 style, ran around in circles next to the save point to get my dragon meters all the way up before the battle started. Nice. That way I was able to go into dragon mode right off the bat, cast Rose Wind or whatever. I know it's not called Rosewood.
It might as well be.
Anyway,
it's called Rose Storm, which is also what the voice actor for Lavit says instead of Blossom Storm, his final edition, because why not? This game just can't keep its fucking thing straight.
Gotcha. Anyway, it's not stupendously tough. Honestly, I bet if either of y'all had just tried it 4 times because you're stubborn idiots like me, you would have been able to beat it.
I just didn't have time at the time I was doing it.
That makes sense because you were playing it before, yeah.
Yeah. And it was optional, so I was like, I don't need to do this. Yeah, and remember, I'm the one doing the minimal amount of stuff to get through the game.
So I will say, Zach Braff Dungeon is it's really fun actually, because what happens is you go and Rose is like, we don't have time to be here. This is optional. We don't need to be here. And Mary's like, but I wanna. And Dart's like, but she wants to. And then like literally like 3 more times, the farther you get into the dungeon, Rose just keeps being like, all right, we're done here, let's leave. And then you get game, and then the game gives control back to the player, and you just keep going.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Which is kind of cool that she's doing that, because meanwhile, every single screen, she remembers back to the Dragon campaign and remembers something cool about Emperor Diaz and remembers something cool about Zieg and all of these things. And she's like having to face her past. And she's just like, guys, like, I'm really kind of triggered and I'm not really doing really well. Can we please leave and focus on the task at hand? And Maru's just like, but there's probably something shiny over there. So deal
Chinese
with your
take
emotions,
precedence.
I guess.
Yeah, she's like PTSDing, but like the problem is that she can't explain why. She can't explain that that's what's happening because that would be a spoiler. So she's like, this is stupid. Let's leave.
Yeah. So this is stupid. So we leave over to actual Velweb now, and we meet Shirley, who we're like, why didn't you die? And she's like, well, because all of the Dragoons are stuck in this place and I wanted to help them. So come back in Disc 4. Do not do this right now. You're just here and I needed to tell you where this optional dungeon was. Please leave. Do not attempt this. Please believe me.
You can't even do it. I still win anyway. Nothing happens.
Well, did you find the Dragoons in there and talk to them? I think you can initiate the fight.
Oh, really? Maybe you had very clearly told me that I wasn't supposed to do it yet, so I explored for a little bit, and nothing seemed to be happening, so I left.
Okay, yeah.
But maybe maybe if I'd kept going, it would have happened.
Yeah, the place that Shirley is in is like the home base of the Dragoons type thing, and so you go into their rooms, and their ghosts are there, and you're like, hi, are you a ghost? And they're just like, fight me. And so you fight.
No, I did find one. Yeah, and I don't remember what happened, but I think I talked to them, and they were just like, sup, and then I left.
Okay. But yeah, you can fight all of them, and they're quite hard. But Disc 4 has some items you can get that completely nullify basically everything. We continue through and the Velwebby place, and we come across Shauna and also Emperor Diaz, and we ask really nicely for Shauna, and he gives her to us in return for the moon objects, and the game is over and everything is fine.
Yep.
Except Rose opens her damn mouth and says, "Yeah, if you were truly Diaz, you would know that freeing the 108th species, or you would know what freeing the 108th species would do." And he's like, "Yeah, it's gonna kill everyone." And Lloyd, is super distraught because, like, when Bardell, this is the thing I wanted to, it all clicked last week and I couldn't talk about it because you didn't get to right here. So, so last week when he was fighting Bardell and he was killing people, especially indiscriminately, is not worth it to bring about your ideals. And he met Zieg, and Zieg was like, hey, these are my ideals to make the world complete. I'm leaving off the fact that it kills everybody. So here he's betrayed by his master, but betrayed in the one thing that Lloyd keeps holy is genocide is the one bad thing. And his boss is just like, what about genocide though? And he's just like, no.
But you said we wouldn't do a genocide.
You said we were playing the mostly pacifist route.
Yeah.
Like true neutral. We were doing the neutral.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I gotta say, I think that the twist that Shauna is the Moonchild comes before this point, maybe?
No.
No?
It is 100% absolutely incredibly obvious from the boat in Disc 2 all the way through Disc 3 up until right now.
No. I mean the time when they actually say it.
But the time they actually say it is here. It's after the Rose reveal, because Rose is like, what's up? And then he says it, and then she instantly becomes whoops.
Oops.
But yeah, she instantly
oops, all spoilers.
There's gonna be so many fucking beeps in this episode. But
here's the thing, I was a little bit proud of myself because on one hand I'm kind of dumb. On the other hand, I did figure out the twist we haven't gotten to yet real early. The Rose thing I forgot because I'm stupid. But the funny thing is at some point they say, and Rose is the Moonchild, and I'm like, yeah, duh, I already figured that out. But it's
Shauna
2
is
minutes
the
ago.
Moonchild,
Sorry,
not Rose.
Shauna's the Moonchild. See, apparently I didn't figure it out. I'm very confused. No. But the funny thing is, as soon as they say Shauna's the Moonchild, what I realized was, Shauna's not just the Moonchild, which is this vague plot content we don't know about. The Moonchild probably means that she is actually not human, but is rather the 108th species. And then I click next on the text box, and the next text box is like, that means she's the 108th species. And I was like, nailed it. However, I thought 108 species was just like Loib said, like there's lots of them. They're like next level humans, but of course, turns out that's not the case, as we're about to discover.
Yeah. So he kills Lloyd while we see him like visibly kill Lloyd. It's a JRPG, like anything can happen.
He gets tossed off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, he gets tossed off a cliff. But he's wearing both plot armor and actual armor, so maybe he'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, he's a wingly too. Can't he just freaking fly?
Right. So then we get a FMV, and Emperor Diaz is just like, I'm actually not Emperor Diaz. I am. And he throws off his mask to see the first time that we see this character, so it's not a good reveal for us.
There's an episode of Steven Universe where Sour Cream's dad comes back, and it's Greg's old friend Marty, and they're putting on a show on the beach, and Marty comes on a stage, and Ronaldo goes, "It's some guy," and that's basically my reaction. Like, yeah, all right, it's that guy.
But also, Rose has a really hilarious line read here. She goes, "No, it cannot be.
It cannot be."
This choice to not use contractions to make it sound more like adventurous and old school and hoity-toity, like, falls apart because the rest of the writing is kind of modern, and so things like this are just like, it cannot be. It's just like, that's not what she would have said. That's not good. But
she is 11,000 years old.
Yeah, true. maybe she should have had all of the hoity-toity talking and not everyone else.
Truth.
Well, also, maybe in this reveal didn't really work, because we're like, it's just some guy. What if Rose had just said, it's Zeeg?
Yeah.
Then the reveal would have worked, because then we would have known that it's Zeeg, instead of finding out about 15 seconds later in a text box.
Yeah. Yeah. She says it cannot be, and Dart says dad. So all we get from the FMV is like, oh, it's Dart's dad, and not the double whammy super reveal that it should have been at the time. So it turns out Rose's boyfriend is also Dart's dad. It's weird. Don't think about it. Yeah.
It's less weird than Xenogears, where every woman is
every woman is your mom.
Ellie, yeah.
And
every woman is your mom and your girlfriend. But yeah, this I remember this twist being pretty cool back in the day, because you keep hearing about, my dad was super cool. And you keep hearing about Zeeg was super awesome, and you keep hearing about, Emperor Diaz is super scary, and they kind of all become one person, and it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
was Emperor Diaz always Zeeg though?
No, Emperor Diaz was Emperor Gloriano, which you learn explicitly in the optional dungeon. Is part of Rose being like, this really doesn't add up to like who Emperor Diaz was, because this is my memory of Emperor Diaz, and he's like this really cool, chill guy that really wants to save the world and stuff. And
so he just put on the helmet and was like, I'm Emperor Diaz now, and everyone's like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But I'm reading my things because I started it with a joke and I don't remember the point of my joke, so I'm reading my notes to redo it. This is the one bad part about me writing all my notes in advance, is I don't remember jokes from 7 weeks ago. But yeah, so he then puts together all of the world building, and it's kind of cool because everybody basically is telling the truth, which doesn't usually happen, because usually somebody is like lied to or is manipulative, but like literally
Lloyd was lied to.
Yeah, he's like, y'all are all right, you just didn't know the whole story and we're a little bit too dumb to put it together.
Yeah. Which also, speaking of too dumb to put it together, all of us, including me, my first time playing the game, should have realized that Dart's dad had the Dragoon Stone obviously he was Zeke this entire time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It should have at least been like, oh, if it's not Zeke, it's like his great-great-grandson or something.
Look,
because
that was 40 hours ago.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, one of the Dragoon stones was just being sold by a merchant, so maybe those things can just get around.
True.
Dart's dad could have just found it in, like, a trash can somewhere. But yes, you're right. That is obviously a tell because
wow, someone's really shiny jewelry fell into the garbage.
Oh well,
like
let me
someone
just put it in a landfill.
Let me give
someone
this to my
fucking
son
dropped
as an
one.
inheritance.
Someone dropped one into the sink when they were doing their dishes, and it got lost in the pipes. And
yeah, the prequel game to this would just be you playing as Lloyd, just digging through trash until you found the Dragoon stones for Graham and Linus.
You know, it would be an interesting video game or story where, like, there's 7 magical objects, but they're all just extremely mundane objects. So it's like, most people, it's just like, yeah, it's like a fork, a stick, something that's not phallic. And finding them is a real bitch.
Yeah. But so us not putting things together. So the divine tree really did bear fruit. It's not just a weird metaphor for evolution. And the whole divine tree, everything is kind of like an endless loop that Soa set up, because I guess he's a troll and that's just how you program, is everything has to be an infinite loop. But so every species gets better and better, but then the last species is just like all right, we did it. This was another successful test. Let's just wipe everything clean and start over again. So the last species has a horrible name, the Virage embryo, which we have regular Virages. So why would their embryo be the scary one? But whatever.
It's a baby, just like Final Fantasy 13. The final boss is a baby. That's not a spoiler. Don't worry. It makes no sense.
Okay. And so the Winglies found out that the world was about to end because they're smart and cool and stuff. So they separated the flesh and the soul of the 108th species and locked its flesh in the sky in the moon that never sets. And they locked the soul in the crystal sphere, which Melvu Frama was like, what if I like strap this to like a backpack and use this as a power source for me to be badass? And everyone's like, that's a bad idea. And he's just like, what if I did it anyways?
What if I
maybe don't?
And then therefore the Dragon campaign, because now you had somebody drunk with the power of literal the god of destruction. And we all had to stop that. So in the Dragon campaign, the FMV we saw where Zieg was petrified and froze, it eventually wore off after 1,000 years. He just got better, I guess. And he went on to father Dart, having long forgotten Rose, because memory did not survive the 10,000 years because he didn't have a magical choker like Rose did, as we find out in a bit. But then when I don't know if it's here or later or even in a place we haven't gotten to, but it only makes sense to like resolve this fucking meat thing for the final bit right here. But after he had completely forgotten Rose and was fathering Dart, he really had no idea that he was Zieg or anything. And so he runs off to go and fight the Black Monster and uses his Dragoon Stone, which then like unlocks whatever bullshit had been making him not remember. And then he was like, oh yeah, I want to take over the world. I forgot about that. So he then like didn't even get, because like the whole time I was like, wait, if I'm just gonna fucking say it, it's 3 lines from now, Rose is the goddamn Black Monster. I'm sorry.
What?
Couldn't contain himself.
It cannot be.
Yeah. So like the whole time I was like, if Rose was the Black Monster and she killed Dart's father, why didn't this whole thing click then? And it's because he Dragoon to go and stop the Black Monster, was like, oh wait, fuck this, I don't care about my wife and child, and he just flew off to go and do evil things instead. But he's evil as hell. So Yeah.
And I totally didn't see the... I mean, I thought Rose was just emo.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she's the dark one. She cuts herself to attack things, but, you know, she's just
she's just sad.
Oh, shit.
She's a sad girl.
Yeah. And when she went off to NEAT and was reminiscing about that one time when she was in NEAT for no particular reason, you know, nothing going on there.
Yuri. She's Yuri from Doki Doki Literature Club.
Black Monster, they call Black Monster she, and then it also this Black Monster has this like humanoid shape. You know, it's all.
Yeah, I do have to say that the mythological Black Monster that we see in the crappy FMVs in like Tiburoa and stuff back when we were just world building, that design is super cool, and I wish that like that existed anywhere else where it's like the grotesque like huge wingy thing and it's like all looks like Ryuk from Death Note. I wish that...
What if she could like transform into that or something?
Yeah, like if she could have that as like her final spell or something, if she like had a form closer to that or something. But oh well. So yeah, right before we learn that Rose is the Black Monster, we learn that in the Dragon campaign, the humans destroyed the Crystal Sphere because they're like, oh, this is what's giving Melbuframa his power. We can stop the dictator if we destroy the Crystal Sphere. And because Winglies are that whole xenophobic bullshit, they didn't tell people, wait, no, this is important for reasons besides Melbuframa.
It's
Steal
also
it.
Making
Don't break it.
Into the world not happened.
Yeah, so we killed it. And so the soul was released, but because the body was up in the moon, it couldn't get there. So instead, it just found a human host, and every 108 years, it gets to try again. And so every 108 years, the Black Monster kills the human host to keep the world from ending, to fix the one thing that they fucked up in the Dragon campaign. And the legends say that it'll bring holy bliss because that's what Soa wants, because obviously what God wants is good, but what God wants is actually bad. So they don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And Zeke is like, isn't that right, Rose? Because you're the Black Monster. And Dart says, my favorite line in this whole game, because it like Dart has been leading up to this moment. Like his first thing is like, man, I got to go find that Black Monster, but first let's stop a civil war. And then he comes to this moment. And the whole time he's been checking in with Rose. Is like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like after losing Lavitz, I really like everything is messed up. And Dart says the line, which is, he's like, God, why you? Why do you have to be the Black Monster? And he's like, I was prepared for every version of this the scenario except for what if it was your best friend the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And
like if it was Meru, fucking kill her, it's fine. If it was Mongol, whatever, done. If it was Shauna, you know what, he'll live. But Rose can't deal with it.
Yeah, and it was good. But yeah, so she's the Black Monster. Everyone is surprised. Eli is especially surprised.
Yeah.
And so Dart is like, why does it have to be you? And she's just like, it's what I've had to do for the past 11,000 years. Like,
that's why I'm so emo.
It's literally been my job to murder a bunch of people in order to keep the world from
usually babies
dying. Usually babies for 11,000 years. It's kind of a really crap job. I should unionize and make some demands.
You don't even get benefits.
Yeah,
you only get a few hours of work every 108 years.
Yeah,
it's part-time.
So Zeke is like, unfortunately for you, you failed because Princess Luvia had a twin, and Shauna is in fact the Moonchild. I hadn't even put together that like she actually had killed Luvia in all of the other ones. I thought that like somehow the baby got away. But apparently Baby didn't get away. She killed Baby. There was second baby. Baby was Shauna. So I was technically wrong about the twist, but it didn't matter because it was still a twist.
See, I really, 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 really adore what happens next. The second he says Rose is the Moonchild, Rose just fucking tries to kill Shauna immediately.
She's just like, all right, clocking back in. Now's my job.
Matter that it's Shauna. Like she's just like, fucking goes.
I don't even think you have to. I don't even think you have to like advance the text box. I think like while he just says it, she just jumps up to do it, and it's just like
great. It's a great look. And I imagine Dart being like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
I think like the whole party is just like, "Go off, I guess." Like, okay.
Yeah, and it's good. And so Zeeg is just like, ha ha ha, you poor little Babby. You thought that this would be the end of the game boss fight, but instead I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger. And he takes Shauna and the moon objects, and we go on to disc 4.
Yeah. Yeah,
and then disc 4 starts in my favorite way to come back from a cliffhanger, and is to not
address the cliffhanger. You're like, what happens next? Yeah. And it's like, we're not going to tell you.
Not going to tell you for a dungeon and a whole city to explore. So get ready, guys. So yeah, we start in this desert dungeon, which like really, I remember really sucking. So I didn't even like begin to attempt it until I pulled up the guide. But while I was getting through it, I was like, this wouldn't have been that hard. Like it's all squares and graph paper. Like I've dabbled in Etrian Odyssey and stuff like that before. Like I can handle mapping. And so
also there's no random battles.
They're all on screen.
I mean, I was actually whining last week, right, about how they kind of stopped having like interesting gimmick dungeons. I thought this dungeon was great. I really enjoyed it. I got a little tired of it, as I was telling Sam, just because I wanted to see what happened next in the plot. But it wasn't the dungeon's fault. I was quite enjoying it. Yeah. Good shit.
I liked it more than I remembered, and more than the guide and the Let's Play bemoaned it, because I guess they just have really bad.
At all. Yeah.
I guess they have really bad sense of direction and just got lost over and over.
But. Yeah, having a map helped a lot, and also my time spent playing text muds, because I just had to memorize like a few directions in a row and be like, okay, I got to go north, northwest, northeast here, and things like that. And it was really interesting. I liked that there were also no random encounters, and so if I was good, I could skip past everything in that room. If I got stuck on a rock and then kept forgetting I was stuck on a rock after every battle, I would keep getting into battles.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about this dungeon is that concept when you get like stuck on a rock and you go into a battle, because the battles take so long, and so then you like come out and you're like, all right, where was I? Was I on the northeast north, or was I on the northeast north? Where am I? And by the time you figure it out, you fall down a hole or you get into another battle.
I had an even dumber problem. So the way this dungeon works is there's these giant sinkholes, and the sinkholes actually suck you towards them. So if you don't touch the control stick, you'll go towards the sinkhole. And if you fall in the right sinkhole, you might land on like a platform underground that has a chest. So you want to like use spatial awareness to be like, oh, if I go a little bit north, then that'll be the correct place to fall. What happens though is I'll be near a sinkhole fighting against it, like fighting against the gravity, and then I get into a battle, and I'll think to myself, okay, Maddie, the second this battle's over, you better hold down up on the control stick, because you're currently in the middle of having to hold down up so you don't fall in the sinkhole. You better remember. And then the battle starts, and I attack once, I attack twice, I attack 3 times. And all 3 times I'm thinking, I remember, I'm going to hold down up. And then 15 seconds later, the battle's over, and I'm like, cool, battle's over. And then I hit X, and then I fucking don't hit the control stick, and then I fall down. Like, I am my stupid ADHD. I cannot even remember for 20 seconds that in 20 seconds, I'm going to have to remember to hold up on the control stick.
Yeah.
Every single time after a battle, I would fucking get sucked into the sinkhole.
That's why I got hung up on a rock.
Remember to do a thing, and I could not.
I would keep going into battles like, okay, remember, you got stuck on this rock before. Sweet, battle's over. All right, I'm moving on. Oh god, no, something else, because I tried to hold up, and yet there was a rock there.
Yeah. Or even worse, it wouldn't even be a sinkhole. I would just forget that there. So the way is, there's no random battles, but some of the enemies, one of the enemy types is like a flying enemy that flies towards you. So if you just sit there, it'll get to you, right? And they're always spawning. So again, the battle ends, and I'm like, ooh, battle's over. All right, time to sit here for a second and not touch the control stick in any way and assess the situation. And then the bug flies into me, and I'm like, oh, right. The bugs they fly into you. You can't just sit there.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid easy to avoid them, but I just would forget that was a thing you had to not do.
Yeah. But yeah, all in all, not bad for our only bit of gameplay. I wish there would have been some like sandworm or something to top it off, because the dungeon was cool and deserved a boss fight. But I guess
you get to the end and it's just like, all right, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though I am glad that this is at the far end of a like of a leg of the world map board, and not like the thing you have to pass through like the Barrens, because that would get real annoying.
That would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a crossroads.
Yeah. So yeah, at the end of the desert dungeon, Rose uses her choker to open a pathway to the Wingley City Ulara, which is not a shithole like the Wingley Forest was. And we actually learned that her choker should have been a word in red the first time, and not just like, I was goth for 10,000 years and now I laugh, which is what it sounded like last disc. But yeah, her choker is what keeps her young. And
it was a magical plot choker.
Yeah. So we get inside, and all the Winkleys are like, "Oh, Rose, you're back. We love you. It's weird that like you understand time, because your time is supposed to be stopped with the choker." And Rose is like, "Yeah, can I go talk to Charlie? I know her name's probably just Charles, but Charlie, it's great. Like I imagine this old lady's name is Charlie, and it's cute." But yeah, so we make our way to meet Charlie, whose last name is Frama, because she's Melbu Frama's older sister. And she is Edna Mode. like, that's just who she is Edna Mode from The Incredibles. And she's like,
yeah, that's
she's like, Rosie, darling, it's been so long, you never call me. And it's great. And she calls Zeke Ziggy, and she's perfect. But you get to ask her a whole bunch of questions, and when you think you've asked her all the questions, you get to ask her 4 more questions.
Yep.
And it's kind of like, at first I was like, this is dumb that this is an exposition dump and it's just questions. But also it's like, these are all like 8 great questions that I've been wanting to know the answer to personally.
Yeah.
And someone's finally just answering it. It's not just like one of those things where like sometimes you get into a town and you're forced into a thing like this, and it's just like, tell me about the area, tell me about the local wildlife, tell me about what shops I should stop in. And it's just like, I don't care about any of these. But this one is like, no, who's my dad? Who's Melbu Frama? What was the Dragon campaign? Why is there a Wingley City out here that nobody seemed to know about? And all of these things that like you actually wanted your answers to.
Yeah, and getting to ask them in any order is fine, because like they are all kind of like independent of each other. So you're just like, whatever. Yeah, they don't contrive some reason why you learn it in the plot. They're just like, yeah, here's a lady who knows things, and now you can figure it out. And you're like, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, she tells us. So Rose says, like, the whole reason we're out here in this desert dungeon heading to this Wingley City is she knows that Charlie would know what to do at this point, because it's like literal, like, shit has hit the fan. The main bad guy has all of the things he needs to destroy the world. So like, what are we going to do? And so the first thing Charlie tells us is that the moon objects aren't fucking special. They're just things.
They just have lots of magic in them.
Yeah. Just like, if you like a Wingley, you could take like a really big turd, and that'd be good enough to go in to do what you need to be doing.
Yeah, they're just like batteries or fucking missiles. You know, they're just really, really powerful thingies.
So we're like, well, if they're not special, why are there like 3 magical ones? And she's like, well, they're just like happen to be a 3 that is all that he needed. Like he could have needed all 5 magical things to be broken, but luckily for him, he only needed 3, and because he had 3 of them, and that's cool, I guess. And it was just kind of like these whole things have been like hyped up, like, oh, what are they going to like form the Triforce or anything like that? It's just like, no, he just happened to need 3, and these were 3 convenient things, so here you go. But what he needs them for is to break the seals on the signet sphere that seals the moon that never sets, because they had separated the flesh and soul, but to keep the flesh up in the sky, they had the signet spheres. There were 5 of them, two of them have already been broken. The Divine Dragon broke the one in Diningrad, and I don't even remember where the first one was, and the last three are in the last three ancient Wingley cities. And the whole time, because our characters in Legend of Dragoon are smart, and they are not normal JRPG characters, and they show this so many times. One of them here is just like, wait, if Melbuframa was trying to destroy the entire world, and you made the signet spheres to seal his power and to seal everything, why did you then create objects that could break it? And Charlie's just like, well, I didn't. Melbu did. So don't come at me like that. Like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And she had made all the signet spheres because she wanted to be friends with the humans and not start a war that kind of isn't over after 11,000 years. And she didn't want him to be a dictator and all of that stuff. So she made the signet spheres. So she's kind of like the person that we needed to be talking to serendipitously. But she says, like I said, they're in the last three Wingley cities. There's the magical city Aeglis, there's the lost cities in Abatos, and the Death City Mayfil. And we're like, all right, well, those are where we're headed. So first we have to go to Rouge, and I don't remember why that makes sense to everybody. Oh, no.
Because she says go to Rouge and you'll know the way to go next.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Charlie's the one that tells us. It's not like, oh, wait, let's go check up on Hastral's side quest before we go and save them. It was Charlie told us directly. And she's like, yeah, over in the twin castles over in Fletz, I made them build
You almost called them the Twin Towers.
The Twin Towers. Over in the Twin Towers of in Fletz, I made them make you a port for your boat, so you can go there, get on your boat, and then you can make your way to Rouge, which is a island tropical paradise, as we'll find out here in a sec. But so that night, Dart and Rose are talking, and we finally get to see how they are still friends right now. And because there's been a couple of like small bits like throughout the desert dungeon and like coming up here where everyone's just like, Dart, are you sure that you're okay? Because like you're kind of just like cool with everything, and the whole time Dart's been like, it's whatever, like we're cool, let's focus on the mission. And so we finally get to see a flashback to see how he handled it. And outside of Velweb, Dart Rose is just like, look, I can explain, and Dart's just like, draw your fucking sword. And not in an FMV, not in a in-game cutscene, just in a like normal overworld pre-rendered backgrounds cutscene do they have their like big emotional fight, and it's great. And I wish like it deserves to be in that and not in anything better. It was just so good. But it was just so like it was just like clinical in a way. Like
yeah, it was just
kind
real.
of just like looking at it was real. It was so good. I fucking love this game's choices on things like that. But because now we're in disc 4, which is the second best disc, so like things are good from like here to the end of the game. But so Dart wins the fight. He knocks her sword away, which is totally not true. Rose could have kicked his goddamn ass. But
yeah, she was. She was probably like, I deserve to die, so I'm not going to fight very good.
Yeah, she was kind of like suicide by angry boyfriend. And so yeah,
a little bit.
I mean, he's Shauna's boyfriend and angry, not like her angry boyfriend.
yeah.
But sorry. And so he has his sword pointed at Rose's throat, and Rose is like, I'm proud of you. You've become strong, and you deserve this. You should go ahead and kill me. And he's and so he throws his sword down for the second time this game. It's like, revenge is not my MO anymore. The black monster is already dead. The only thing I can do is focus on completing my journey with my teammates. And he walks away, and it's kind of really cool. It's a good ass.
I like Dart a lot.
Dart's a sweet,
good guy.
sweet boy.
He really is. So they're sitting there just like hanging out and talking, and she's like, the world is created fragile so that Soa can start over at any time, but she's not going to let that happen. all of her friends died to protect the world, and she's not going to let God's plan undo that, no matter who God says he is.
God's plan.
And Dart tells her that she doesn't have to struggle alone anymore, that he's her friend, these are her friends. We're the Dragoons 2.0, and we're going to save the world. And the next day we get our party back together, and there's a few cute scenes, including one of my favorite scenes on this disc, where Miranda is talking about how her mother had abused her, and she explains why. Earlier she goes on this like long tirade about how roses like are only red because they drink the blood of the people who prick themselves on them. And that's, I think you're projecting, Miranda.
Yeah.
It's like super random. She's just like, I hate roses. They're coarse and rough, and the blood gets everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is one thing where it's funny because Rose's name in Japanese is Rose, which is not the Japanese word for a rose. And so in Japanese, this wasn't as like on the nose and weird as it was here, where it's just like Rose was right there, and you just the whole time you're like, roses only want to hurt people, and they only want to like drench the world in blood, and Rose is horrible. I hate everything
Roses
named
are always wearing their
Rose.
stupid chokers.
Roses are super emo, and
Yeah.
they're always cutting themselves. And
Not a fan of those flowers.
But yeah, so in the scene, Haschel is like, it sounded like you were projecting earlier. What was up with that? And so she says, yeah, my mom abused me, and my mom's favorite flower was a rose, and she always had roses behind her. So I would always look up at the woman about to hit me and see roses. So they kind of are like a trigger. And Haschel's like, wow, that's dark. And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm so like sad and depressing. And Haschel says, it's okay to be this way. Life is not always happy, which I freaking loved.
Yep.
And then Rose and Dart show up to be like, hey, we got to go. And Rose is like, hold on, I want to talk with Miranda. Round of drinks for everybody. And Rose just kind of lets go and like supports her friend, and her friend supports her, and they all get drunk and all just have a good time together. And it's good. It's a good little happy scene.
The bar design is super rad.
Yeah.
I love the rainbow lights that they've got around the area.
Yeah, it is definitely like darn it, what's the name of this stupid continent? Indiness. It's definitely Indiness' hottest club.
Yes.
But one thing I like about this scene is Dart's like, hey, I want to talk to Haschel, and Rose is like, that's good, because I actually want to talk to Miranda. And I'm thinking, oh, there's going to be like important plot conversations. But then it just cuts to later, and I'm like, oh, no, they just wanted to hang out. So we skip past it because it's not an important plot. I'm like, oh, that's cute, actually. I thought it was going to be some more heavy-handed plot stuff, but it was actually just the people wanting to chat.
Yeah, this is the hang out with your friends game, and it's so good. But so then we get down to the teleporter operator. One other thing about the bar, speaking of teleporters, is if teleporters were real and I owned a business, this is definitely how I would do it, just to make everyone feel awkward when they come into the bar, because the teleporter's in the middle and the bar is like constructed around it. So it's like everyone watches who comes in, comes out. It's like a people watcher's dream.
Well, also, like, you teleport into the bar. It's like, most clubs, you have trouble, like, it's the beginning of the night, the party's not super hopping yet, and you're like, well, someone's got to go on the dance floor and start dancing and break the ice. But the way this club's designed, the second you get there, you're already in the middle of the dance floor.
You have to start dancing in order to get out.
Although, don't dance exactly where the teleport is, because then you'll get telefragged.
The teleporter operator out of the front, we go to meet her on our way out, and she's like, okay, I've boosted the power as much as I can, and the closest I can send you, the farthest I can send you is to the home of Giganto. And I'm like, don't boost it as far and send us to Fueno, and we'll take a boat. Like, I don't want to go through these fucking dungeons again.
Seriously, just take us less far.
Take us less far and we'll take our goddamn boat. But no. So she teleports us all the way across the world to the home of Giganto, and on our way out, everybody gives us like a big hero send off, and they're like, "We actually believe in you to stop the bad guys," and it's kind of really cool. Like, it feels Like, this part of the game feels like the victory lap at the end of a Dragon Quest game.
I thought of that too, but it's before the end of the game. Yeah.
But it's before the end of the game. Like, there's a lot of game left, but it's just like, cool, here's everybody loving us. And same thing happens when we get to the Twin Castles. Everybody there is just like, yeah, we love you. We hooked up your ship. There's like snacks for days in there. We trust you. Go out and do your thing. And so we get on the Queen Fury and we make our way over to Rouge. And when we're there, if you're diligent, you turn in the last Stardust, or you're like me and you expect to turn in the last Stardust and you look at your count and you have 47 and you missed 3 in Fueno because you were trying to hurry before recording and didn't stop to look if there were Stardust there. And because your boat is on this half of the world over in Rouge, you can't get to Fueno right now. So more on Stardust later.
Sam, I think that you could have, because even though your boat should be there, if you go to another town that normally has a boat, the boat will be there.
It was not there. I tried.
Oh, you actually tried? Okay. Well,
it's just gone out, and the
shortly after this point, that changes, and the boat becomes a magical teleporting boat.
Okay, so I probably can do it the first thing tonight when I go to play, but I could not do it in time. But in my notes, I wrote off a Let's Play that had done it in time, so we can resolve this plot thread for Eli because he was sad.
I had 18 Stardust. I got the first item. So
yeah, so we turned in the last Stardust, and did I not even write it here? I didn't even put it down to the bottom. fucking L. I'm just like, let's resolve it, and then it's not in my fucking notes. So I'm going to
Martell tells you, like, you learn that she wants Stardust because it's gonna keep her kid from dying.
Yeah. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was ignoring them because who cares about getting fancy items? And then she's like, oh, actually, it stops my sick kid from dying. And I was like, well, if I know that, I would have been getting them.
Yeah.
Maybe
I was like, her kid's gonna die because I only have 18 Stardust.
All right, so we run into Martell up in so you come up and you see her, and she's like, she's sick. How is she? And she's like, she should be okay when I get all this Stardust. So please save her from the illness. And then the little kid is like, I feel fresh like before I got sick. And Lil's like, oh my god. And she's so Martell goes and gives Lil a huge hug. She's like, Mom, I can't breathe. We give her the last one, and she's like, oh my god, are you sure? Thank you so much. And she's like, this was the last one. I made it. I collected all the Stardust in the world. And nobody's like, we collected all the Stardust in the world. You didn't do shit. So Dart's like, make a wish. And Martell's like, I wish for happiness for my daughter and a bright future for my daughter. And so Lil was like, I had a dream and there was a woman that said, I'll give you happiness, but it's weird because I'm already happy now.
Aww.
And everything was already fine. I didn't need this the Stardust. And Martell's like, oh, I guess you're right. And Martell's like, not only has Lil found happiness, but I have too. So in return for your favor, take this. It has some special power, and she gives us a vanishing stone that will unlock the final dungeon.
Yeah,
but
because an NPC said earlier that it was special to have a vanishing stone.
Yeah, and it's kind of like opaque now that I'm looking back on it. But the first time I had saw this, so she does use the wish to be like, oh, make my daughter happy. But Miranda healed her, and also the kid was already happy. So maybe the Stardust was kind of the friends we met along the way.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, no, the real Stardust is absolutely friends made along the way. Or it was the real Stardust was inside you all along. Yeah. Also, like I gotta say, if you're making wishes, you gotta be specific with your wishes. If your kid is sick and suffering, don't wish for your kid to be happy. Yeah, okay?
Have you ever had a monkey's paw? I mean, come on.
Like, that could clearly just be like, oh, she's suffering, so happiness means she dies. And puts her out of her suffering. Like, no, say, I wish for my kid's illness to be healed and for her to not be sick anymore. Just, like, be specific with your fucking wishes. Jeez.
Yeah.
You traveled all around the world to get this Stardust, and you're gonna blow it on this bullshit? Come on, Martel. Come on, get your act together.
Yeah. So,
no, wait, I have a question. If
ahead.
this unlocks the final dungeon, isn't that something that you need?
It's something I need, but you don't have to do it. It's secret dungeon.
It's okay.
We actually already passed it. It's that one optional room you can go to right off the corner of like not Dragon Mountain. Where's the place we went to before Velweb? Iceland.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. If you just go off a dumb little path, there's this room, and if you go in there, the Grim Reaper shows up, and he's like, "If you come any closer, I'll kill the shit out of you." And if you're me, you go closer anyway. And without realizing, I haven't saved since before fighting Lloyd. And then the Grim Reaper's like, I told you not to come any closer, so you go into a battle. And then if you're me, you finally realize that you should stop being so stupid. And luckily, even though this is the boss battle, you can actually run away.
Yeah.
So I ran away, I did not get a game over, and I thought I should probably come back here later. And then later an NPC in the Wingley City says, yeah, Vanishing Stone will kill that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you use the Vanishing Stone to kill the thing that keeps you from fighting the final boss.
Yeah.
Not final boss. Secret boss. Ultimate boss. But, yeah, so back on the main quest and not side quest corner. We talked to the mayor and we're like, hey, are there any weird ruins in the area? And all the sailors are just like, yeah, there's a stick. And everyone's like, what? He's like, yeah, over there. There's a big old stick.
They keep calling it a stick.
Everyone's like, what the hell? And so they look over where they're pointing, and it's a super high-tech, like, giant tower surrounded by a giant whirlpool. And I'm like,
have you ever seen a stick before? It's like the chicken thing from Arrested Development.
Yeah, like my family grew up. My dad grew up on the bayou. He was a swamp rat. And my grandma lives on the same bayou, or used to. And so we would always go visit her. And the bayou, the river, it's a very shallow river, right? And a lot of the time there's a storm and, a large stick, we're talking maybe 7 feet long, will fall into the water. I'm guessing lodge itself in the, or like it'd be like a whole tree branch would fall. And yeah, you'd see like maybe 3 feet high, 2 feet high maybe, a stick that's like an inch in diameter sticking out of the water. So like that's what I'm imagining, right?
Yeah.
Like a tree fell in the river and there's a stick coming up. And if you're in a boat, make sure to go around it, because of course if there's a stick above the water, there's also a stick below the water. So you don't want to fuck up your boat. But yeah, no, that's not what it is.
No, it is a giant high-tech tower surrounded by a giant whirlpool. Lots of other nouns that they could have used instead of stick. But whatever.
I just want to see them like bring a stick back with them and be like, this is a stick.
Maybe they thought it was a stick. Maybe they thought it was small because it was far away.
They all have really poor vision.
Yeah, they don't know how depth perception works. They're very simple people.
Yeah. And so Rose is like, oh, this is the magical city Iglis, and she explains that the Wingley cities were divided like the Hunger Games districts, and every city was had a different job. And so the Crystal Palace was the birth city Crystal Palace, which is a super dumb name, but it's literally where they did magical eugenics and they created the ideal Wingley babies.
Yeah, it turns out the Wingleys were Wingleys. They really buried the lead on how fucking fascist the Wingleys are.
Yeah.
They really didn't. I didn't realize, like, we waited until Disc 4 to be like, yeah, they were like dystopian fascist dictators. Like, we had a city for deciding which babies don't get aborted. We had a city for sentencing certain races to death in camps.
Yeah,
they were.
Yeah.
It's bad, folks.
It's Nazis with wings.
Yeah.
Just what everybody always wanted.
And then not only were they like scrutinizing which babies could get born, they also decide which ones go to hell and which ones go to heaven. They created a magical like dream catcher to keep
They're Calvinists as well.
Oh god.
And it's just
the worst.
like
Yep.
See, that's what
like,
makes this game really subversive, because most JRPGs are like, what if the bad guys were evil Catholics? And this game realizes that the true evil religion is Calvinism.
It's Calvinism.
But yeah, and so then the Forbidden Land, which was the imperial city Cadessa, was the seat of military and political power, which is why it was the location of the big battle. Then there was the Lost Cities in Abatos, which is where Wingley laws were made, also known as a robot DMV, and it was excuses to judge other species and perform like species-wide executions.
Wait, the legal system is just an excuse to oppress certain minority groups? That's
what a shock.
That's a fantasy concept. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's new and original.
Yeah. So then the last city she tells us about was Magical City Aeglis, which is where they studied magic. And that's it.
Yeah, it's not nearly as dystopian as the other ones.
Yeah. Just like, this one was the worst of all. It was a college.
Well, yeah, that's where they indoctrinate you with liberal values. And,
Yeah.
they don't want that, so...
Yeah. So when we're done talking, Rose feels like we're being watched, and then suddenly the sea parts, which allows us to just walk across the ocean over to Aeglis. And it's like, we also have a boat, but cool, I guess.
Well, you forget, she feels like being watched because there's a quick cutscene where we are being watched.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the cutscene. So Bart is in the Yggdrasil, and he's like, there they are. These are the bad guys. I'm for sure this time. Let's fire the Bart missiles. And
there's like a 5-second scene where it cuts to a weird mysterious room, and in the middle is a weird mysterious orb, and there's a bunch of people around it, and they're just looking at the orb, and in the orb is your party, and there's no dialogue or anything. It's just like, oh, some people are watching us on the orb. Okay.
Yeah, and so then we save and finish our quest for the week, or if you're like all three of us, we actually played some more because next week is 3 dungeons and we wanted it to be less, but there's no plot for about half of next week, so it's okay. But yeah, that's where we stopped. I wove in a lot of my memorable moments because this was a really short episode and I wanted to embellish.
Yeah.
But did anybody else have other stuff they wanted to talk about?
I did really like the meeting with Marina and Haschel. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, we did talk about, and I really, really like Dart's attitude about how, like, he's not going to take revenge, and that's, like, he's really sticking to his morals there, and that makes me really happy, because, like, in JRPGs and anime and things like that, like, people like swear vengeance all the time. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like too often there are situations where they don't take the high road. And they should.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, most of the times when they do take the high road, it's on the last episode of the anime. It's in the final 10 minutes of the movie.
And it's like way more drama.
It's like way more drama, and it's just like, no, you're not worth it to kill. Like, I'm not going to go down that road to get my revenge on you.
It's not for him. It's not, you're not worth it. It's, you are worth something.
Yeah.
And you were misguided, and this is what you did sucks, but I think that you have value and importance, and that that was the message that I saw when Dart did that.
Yeah,
which is
it's so
very
good.
Unitarian Universalist, really cool. And I love it.
But yeah, other than that, was there anything because I actually didn't talk to all of the NPCs in the Winkley world. Was there anything cool there, Maddie? I know that
not particularly. It was really more. It wasn't like fun little side. It wasn't like fun character stuff like a lot of NPCs. It was more just like plot information, like the one who tells you to use the Vanishing Stone to kill the Grim Reaper. But no, I had a few moments I liked a lot. So when we're in whatever it's called, the optional city, the law city, the magic city, the optional city.
Optional city.
We were in the optional city earlier, and there's the flashback where Diaz is like talking with Rose, and Diaz is like, I heard you are going to have a wedding after this battle. I'm like, once again, dude, none of these people watch movies. Like, don't plan to have a wedding after the big dramatic battle. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's going to be a tragedy. Like, never be like, oh, this is my last job before I can retire. You know?
No, it
or
won't be.
no, just do the thing you want to do to achieve happiness before your one last job, before the big battle. Come on.
It's first grade, SpongeBob.
Yeah. Also, you get the armor of Vor, which is fun.
It's definitely your,
but the text makes the Y look like a V.
This game has a decent font, like as far as JRPGs go, but it's not the best font.
There's also a part where I don't know what the context is here, but Meru just says, when you drag the past around, you cannot walk anywhere. And I'm like, oh, thanks for explaining the point of the game. Let's see. When we find out that Rose is the black monster, Dart says, Rose is ... new line, the black ... monster. It's some real nice ellipses there. Shortly afterward, Zieg goes, and are you going to kill her to save the world? And what I love is that immediately after he says that, Rose is like, yeah.
It's such a good like calling his bluff, because he's just like, I got you. You're not going to kill your friend because your friend is the Moonchild this time. And she's like, I will kill the Moonchild.
She's like, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
That's my job.
A little while later, we're talking with that Wingly when we first get to the city, and she goes, Rose has been carrying the fate of the world all alone while shedding tears of blood. And I'm like, that's a normal thing to say.
Yeah. Well, it's Rose. She's emo.
And then when you're talking with Charles,
She's
Charles
Yuri
has some
from
really
Doki
good lines.
Doki Literature Club.
Charles like, it must have been so hard. You had to fight, or it's like, you had to fight alongside the son of your significant other. And furthermore, the enemy is the significant other. Like, what a weird way to say that.
It's so weird.
Bearing the lead there. Then she says,
I also love, like, while she's... Yeah, I was about to say that exact thing. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it turns out the whole time that she's talking, the reason she's being so over-the-top nice and sweet and being all, like, here, have some cookies, here, like, you never call me anymore, she's being super happy and delightful performatively on purpose so that they won't be depressed, which is cute. Then she says, she's talking about the history of Rose and Zieg, and she goes, they crossed both swords and love. Just looking at them made me feel embarrassed. So apparently, Zieg and Rose were just all up on each other all the time. And Charles was just like, oh my god, get a fucking room. Like, holy shit. And then the final thing is, when you're doing your exposition dump with Charles, when you first talk with her, she explains, like, two things. She explains who Zieg is, and she explains, like, one more thing. Maybe the thing about the signets or something. And then she goes, okay, now I will answer all your questions. And then you have a box where you can pick 4 or 5 different options. 2 of them are the signets and Dart's dad. And if you pick either of them, Rose literally goes to Dart and is like, are you stupid? She just explained that.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
That's amazing.
If you pick the other 2, it's fine. She's just like, I'll tell you. But I just imagine that being canon, right? Where Dart's like, okay, but what about my dad?
You have to ask about all the things.
What?
Yeah, you have to ask all those questions to get to the next dialogue.
Oh, really? You have
options.
to? Oh,
yes.
I went for those 2 first, so.
Well, yeah, the guide I was reading was like, you have to ask everything. And so I was like, all right, I'll just go down the line. And Rose is like, are you an idiot? I'm like, maybe.
I wish you could have just, like, kept doing that. Like, every time she explains it, you're like, no, but why would you make? But why would you make?
Yeah, it's like trying to explain something.
Signet, and she's like, how many times do you have to go over this?
It's like trying to explain something to a little kid who just keeps going, why? Why? Why?
But why? Well, she's like, but why would you make the separate? Why would you use the moon sphere for power? Because you want to take over the world. Why do you want to take over the world? Because he went mad with ambition. Why did you do that? Because the heart of the Wingly. Because people have vices. Why do people have vices? Because God fucking created people, and sometimes they're evil. Okay, like. No, but then she's like, okay, well, let's go into the socio-economic context that creates such tensions that cause people to act in such ways. Well, so first of all, the history of all conflict is class struggle, and so you've got the plebeians and the lords and the serfs, and of course, meanwhile, Albert is just eating it up. Albert's like, this is great. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
No, that's it for me. I just got a real big kick out of that scene. Yeah.
That was a good one. So, yeah, that about does it for the week. As a reminder, our next game is Final Fantasy X, and we have 3 more episodes. We're going to cut the majority of Chapter 4 into 2 parts, but then our last part is just going to be the point of no return to the end. Well, the second point of no return. Here on the next bit will end at the point of no return. It's like, oh, if you want to go do side quests, you have to go do it now. But then you're about to start the final boss fight is where we're going to stop the last.
Gotcha.
One. And so then so then after that we'll be playing Final Fantasy X and opening up the polls to vote on what the best game that we did not play in 2018 will be. And
make sure to Pokemon Go to the polls.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pokemon Let's Go to the polls. Got to update it.
Yeah.
Pokemon Let's Go to the polls. Pikachu. I have a brief update about FF10. This is not a very important update, but last time I was talking about what version to play. Because I'm so excited about the games, I went and was re-listening to the soundtracks, and I remembered being a little iffy on the remastered soundtrack. Like, I like some things better, I like some things worse. Now that some time has passed, and I'm able to pass over it with a more objective eye, at least I hopefully more objective eye, the remastered soundtrack is unequivocally way the fuck better than the original soundtrack. So that's another strong mark in favor of playing the newer version of the game. The soundtrack is stupid good. Yeah.
Eli, were you trying to say something a second ago? I saw you.
No.
Okay. I didn't know if it was a cough or if you had started to say something.
No, I was just joking around.
Okay. So, yeah, if you like what we do here, please let us know and talk to us. You can reach us at rpgbookclub@gmail.com or on Twitter at rpgbookclub or in our Discord, who has a link in the description. We we found out that last week we shouted out a bunch of bots on
accident. Don't join if you're a bot.
Yeah, don't join if you're a bot. But do join if you're Nina, because you're cool, and welcome to our hood, Nina. We're glad that you're a real person. And
she's my cousin, and she's awesome.
Yeah.
What if she's not a bot in the internet sense, but is a robot or cyborg of some sort? We would.
I'm pretty sure she's not. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, it could go either way. But yeah. So if you really, really like what we do here, you can help us pay for it by donating to our Patreon. It's at patreon.com/rpgbookclub, or by getting some merch from our store at shop.spreadshirt.com/rpgbookclub. I actually came up with like a definitive Legend of Dragoon shirt that I'm going to make. So
cool.
Instead of just having an idea with it, I've actually like planned it out. So that one should hopefully be up by the time that we're still talking about Legend of Dragoon. So
hopefully
definitely go and check that out. And next week we will play part 2 of chapter 4, which my notes say finish the game, which is not true. We are going to stop at that's not.
That's impossible.
I used the wrong word. I said I put Mayfil in the next set of notes. I was like, we're definitely not starting on Mayfil, but I meant Iglis. But Yeah, so we're going to stop at yeah, so this is the one where we actually stop at the point of no return side quest wise. So it'll be most of the way through a Death City Mayfil, and a big dramatic moment will happen, and everyone will be like, all right, this is it. If we continue on from here, we have to lock ourselves into the final dungeon. And you say no, and you go grind a lot if you're me, and fight a lot of Dragoons, and cry at the amount of work that you made yourself do before continuing this end of this game.
Nice.
But, yeah.
So is it definitely every side quest that's locked out? Like also the optional like Grim Reaper extra dungeon. That's all got to be done this week.
Yeah, it'll all have to be done here, or you can double your saves and do it.
Oh, of course, obviously, cool. Yeah. It's because I also am intending to at least attempt all of these, just to say I did at least.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the next time we'll stop is at the point of no return, Mark 1.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm really excited because after next week, all of the not end of the game final twists will be over, and I can fully talk about this game and not couch my words.
I have to bite your tongue constantly, yeah.
There was something we were doing the other day where I was just talking about like something unrelated, and I was like, oh yeah, like in this screenshot from Legend of Dragoon, I was like, wait, let me delete that. Eli's here, and I don't want him to be spoiled on this one final thing that we haven't talked about yet, but we will know it next week. So
great.
3 dungeons, one of which is a DMV. That's your homework for this week.
And I've already done one of them.
Yay.
I'm playing ahead for life reasons.
For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddie.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, love you.
My party has been initiated.
My party is ready.
Initiating party sequence.
My party has been restored to full HP.
I slipped this in.